Good day, everybody. My name is Dr. Fundi. Today, we have a very interesting conversation in prospect as part of our Health Icons program, wherein we record the life and professional history of some of our health icons. Today, we are recording Dr. Andile Mzwandile Maliza. Most of us, we call him Upra Endi. So today, our special guest is Upra Endi, Dr. Andile Maliza. Those who come from Eqebeja, will know him as the private obstetrician and gynecologist in that area. And people who went to Natal will also know him, if they spent time in the 80s in Natal. But anyway, today we are in Johannesburg, and we're just here to have a conversation about his professional life. The title of our conversation is The Travels and Tribulations of Early Black African Gynecologists. So our conversation in the main is going to be focusing on the people who were pathfinders, the people who opened the way to all of the others who chose to do obstetrics and gynecologies, in the 90s, 2000s to date. But we don't have enough knowledge or history of the hoops, the challenges, the trials, the tribulations that they had to go through for them to actually qualify as gynecologists in this country and practice as gynecologists in this country. Brian, welcome to the Dr. Fundi Health Icons. Please greet our audience.
Good morning, Dr. Fundile or Dr. Fundi and the audience.
Thank you, Brian. Noko, as my senior, it's always easier ukusebenzisa isiduko, the clan name. Kakundithi nje clan names zakho Bhutendi.
Andile Maliza, ngunkala, uvumisa, umathundela, umbizana, owafaka kubiwa jonsa mangongwa naphezulu, unodlomo.
Well, yabona ke by doing that, Bhutendi, you are inviting all of those people, who were here before you were here, to actually be part of our conversation. But what I also like is the fact that there is a relationship between Mnana Dilibele, ulanga lokulunga kumnyama xa sikhona. Kanti ke nawe uzalwa emabheleni.
Inyani leyo mbele. Umama ngumambele. Intombi yakwamabandla. Kutsolo. So kanti siyadibana somehow.
No, I think Kuvenekas, Bhutendi. You don't mind me calling you Bra-Endi or Bhutendi, ne? In the formalities, no, all protocol observed. Tingathi nje Bra-Endi from now onwards.
Ewe mbele kudala londo nayithi a portion to you. Zonke izintwana ndandizifundisa e-University of Natal. Obovungana.
Yes.
Oscom.
Yes.
Nobani. Bathi Bra-Endi. Kanti ndingutata wabo. Balingana nabantwana bam.
Exactly. But I think it just feels because you've always been that person who is very approachable, who's very accessible to us. And I think siyalibala sometimes uba there are some couple of generations between you and us, but it's not because siyadelela. It's just because we just always felt ukuthi you understand us better than even our parents understood us.
I, Dr. Fundi, ndiyayilandela loo nto.
Yes.
And I'm very grateful for that.
Yes. Now, but Andy, before we had this conversation, we sat down, prepared for it, and you came with a title. The title, Travels and Tribulations of Early Black African Gynecologists. Now, just share with us the why you thought this would be an apt, appropriate kind of title for our conversation.
Dr. Fundi, during our time, I wish to say we were pioneers. We were trailblazers. Things were difficult. Things were difficult. We needed people to hold us, to hold our hands. Before we go far, I wish ab initio to express my gratitude to Professor D.C. Crichton, Professor E.T. Mkhokong, the late Professor Martin Marivate, the late Dr. Sam Boti Pitzwe, Professor Alec Turnbull of Oxford, and Dr. Gregory Zweldumile Mbambisa. Umthembu. Those were the times, and those were the people under very trying conditions and times were able to hold my hand to such an extent that I achieved what I wanted to achieve.
Yes. Now, I think it is important to contextualize, that era, because, and you will correct me here, Andy, in the 50s, in the 1950s, I don't think South Africa had a black African gynecologist. I mean, if we're talking about Prof. E.T. Mkhokong, who was not the first, black gynecologist, but he qualified in 1967, in May 1967. Now, there was Dr. Mpahlele before then, who qualified, overseas.
In Glasgow.
In Glasgow. Now, so the point I'm trying to make, this conversation is really about putting things into proper perspective, in the proper context, acknowledging. So the names that you mentioned are people who in one way or the other played a positive role in you ultimately becoming, an obstetrician and a gynecologist. But for the young people of today, it's important to know that, like you said, you guys were pioneers. And it's only maybe from the 1960s that you started having black gynecologists. But you can correct me if maybe I'm mistaken. So it is not something that people must take for granted. Ukuthi, nowadays we see a lot of black gynecologists in our communities. It was a big ask firstly nje, to get into medical school, let alone to then have an opportunity to be trained as a gynecologist. Can you maybe share a little bit about that, nje, broadly?
Enkosi, Dr. Fundi, I just want to give you the chronological order of early black gynecologists.
Please enlighten
As
us.
you have already said, the first black African gynecologist was the late Professor Mpahlele. But Professor Mpahlele spent all his time in Glasgow, and he came only for about a year, and he died only a year. So he never practiced and did any work really in South Africa.
So most of his professional life
Was in Glasgow.
he qualified in Glasgow, practiced in Glasgow, and only came to South Africa, in his twilight years, and soon thereafter he passed on.
The person we recognize as the first black gynecologist here in South Africa is none other than Professor Ephraim Tibedi Mokgoko, who qualified as a gynecologist in 1967.
Yes, that was May 1967, 4 months before I was born.
The second black South African to qualify as a gynecologist is Dr. J.M. Mbege,
Ujiji.
commonly called Gigi. However, Gigi trained in Uganda at Makerere University.
So he did not train in South Africa
He
to
did-
become a gynecologist. He got his undergrad up
Here.
in South Africa,
Yes,
University of Natal.
University of Gigi was my classmate in medical school.
Yes.
But when he qualified, he worked in Johannesburg for 2 to 3 years, and later he went to Makerere. At Makerere, Uganda, he worked in obstetrics and gynecology. I've just forgotten the head of the department.
Yes.
But he impressed the professor so much that during the time of Idi Amin,
Who was the president of Uganda those days?
who was the president of Uganda those days, when he purged the whites and the Indians in his country, Professor went with Gigi Mbege to Hammersmith in London.
So though he was black and therefore he could have stayed, but his head of department, who most probably was not black,
He was not black, he was white.
yes, left with him.
He was so impressed with Gigi
eh,
that he had to go with him to Hammersmith. Hammersmith is one of the Ivy League universities
Yes.
in gynae and obstetrics in
Yes.
London.
Yes.
I am not sure if Gigi on his own would have been considered for admission at Hammersmith.
Yet there he was. One guy.
God has many ways. Gigi going to Uganda was a blessing in disguise.
Yes, yes, yes. So he went to Uganda. This is deep apartheid times in South Africa.
Definitely.
And he went to Uganda, and through the leadership issues zika Idi Amin, he found himself at the most prestigious of environments, where you like saying he most probably would not have made it directly there, but because of impressing this gentleman, without applying, he got there.
I have said Dr. Mbekhe.
Dr. Gigi Mbekhe, yes.
Was the second.
Yes.
The third one is the late Professor Martin Marvate.
I know him very well. He taught me at medical school during the period 84 to 89. So I know him very well. Yes.
The fourth one, there were two who sat to the same exam at the same time.
Yes.
The late Dr. Samuel Buti Pitre and none other than yours truly, Dr. Andile Maliza, in 1975.
I think we need to go back there. You said it fast. Let's be clear. So we were saying number one was this one, number two was this one, number three was this one. Then you now have two people who qualified at the same time. Dr. S.P. Pitso. I was in his unit, as a student with Dr. S.P. Pitso, and we used to enjoy working under him. So you qualified with him at the same time. You mentioned something about when the results were coming, because Maliza is ahead of Pitso. Your name came before his name.
Above him.
Yes, but at the same time.
At the same time.
Yes.
The examination was in Johannesburg.
Yes.
So we had to drive for the exams in Johannesburg.
Nisuke Durban.
From Durban.
Yes.
I stopped there because I don't follow the chronology of those who follow us.
Yes.
Safe to say, these were the pioneers. These were Ovulindlela.
Yes, the pathfinders.
The pathfinders.
And you are one of those. Put it. I am sitting next to greatness. Put it. There's something that you did not mention though, which I want to. Normally, there's about 4 years of postgraduate training before Wambe uyobhala and pass, those exams, whether it's FRCOG or is FRCS. There's something you mentioned that was peculiar about you in terms of the period you took to be ready to write the exams, and you wrote and passed.
What I wanted to say, Dr. Fundi, is that let's come to that
at the right time.
At the right time.
Beautiful.
Now, Dr. Fundi, I want to tell you and the listeners that as of today, there are only 3 black South Africans who have this degree, FRCOG.
The fellow
of the United Kingdom. That is the fellow of the Royal College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists. Number one is Dr. Gianna Mbege.
Dr. Gigi Mbege.
His full name is Gianna Mgojo Mbege,
Yes.
colloquially known as Gigi.
Yes.
He is FRCOG. The second one is none other than yours truly, Andile Malisa. The third one being Dr. Gregory Zweldumile Mbambisa.
Mthembu.
Umthembu. But Umthembu is different from the two I've mentioned because he got his membership cum laude, translated colloquially, but in medicine we called it, he got a gold medal.
So whilst you guys were ahead of him to get the FRCOG, as the third person from South Africa, third black person from South Africa, he did so well that basically he got it cum laude, or a gold medal.
Mbele, I want to say this. I don't know whether it's good English.
Yes.
But he outdid us. He was miles
better.
ahead. He got a gold medal. As I say, it's like getting your degree cum laude,
Yes.
but we call it a gold medal
Yes.
in the colleges.
In the colleges, yes. So, I just need to insert something there. The person you are mentioning, Umthembu, Uputzweli, his father and my father were friends. And so I got to know about him, and later, no, Sis Pinky. And there are some of the people I looked up to in my early days as a primary and a junior, a student, because my dad would always talk about Uzweli, and I would meet utata wakhe, UTM, TM Bambisa, and he was very proud of Uputzweli. So you mentioning somebody I know, and because ndikhulele eTabase from the age of 4, utata wakhe uTM Bambisa comes from Eskhobeni, which is a village just up the road from where I grew up. So I know that gentleman very well.
The nice thing about their family, although Dr. Mbambisa got a gold medal, he's down to earth, he's simple. He's not one of those who think very highly of himself. That's
Humility in success.
That's something which we must learn as black people, that wherever you are, the people who didn't achieve what you have achieved, don't belittle them. Treat them with dignity. That the Mbambisa family has it.
No, ndiyavumelana nawe. I can't add anything more. I mean, this is a family ngoDecember, nge-Christmas or Boxing Day, sihamba nabo siya to the nearest beaches from Umtata, whether it's Coffee Bay or Heaven or, Umtata Mouth and stuff. So it's a family where humility in success is what defines them, because that family has got, the siblings to Upudzweli. I mean, I think there's 2 engineers and many other top professions that came from the same family. And it's a family where the father was a teacher and then became a school principal, he became an inspector, and he became the head, I think, of the education of the territory. So a family where education was valued kakhulu. Yes. So you said there's 3 people who have this FRCOG. Now, I asked you earlier, why only 3? Then you gave me a reason as to why only 3. Because the 4th one was Dr. Charles Tabo waiting from Lesotho. But we talk about South Africans.
Dr. Charles Tabo Mating.
Mating, yes. Who came from Lesotho. So the 3, why did they stop to have South Africans with the FRCOG? You shared, and I think for the public, I want them to know what was the reason.
For one to be a specialist in whatever field, you must get a specialist qualifications.
Yes.
Which is a fellowship.
Yes.
It can be an FCOG in obstetrics.
Which is the South African version.
It can be an FCS to be a surgeon.
Yes.
It can be an FCP to be a physician. But those are qualifications given by the College of Medicine
of South Africa.
Yes. There are other colleges like the London College, the Edinburgh College, the Glasgow College, the Irish College, because it was a free-for-all. If you got an Edinburgh fellowship, you would come and register in South Africa as a specialist.
To specialize,
and
to practice as an
as a specialist.
Yes.
If you are a surgeon with an FRCS Glasgow, you would come here. Then the College of Medicine saw that it's eating on their finances. They decided only the people who took the South African fellowships are allowed to practice in South Africa. So if you got an FRCS, an FRCOG, or an MRCOG, you will not be allowed to practice in South Africa until you write the college exam here.
As a Lapekai.
I think it was just a matter of finances.
Yes.
Not because